Hey, I'm coaching.
Hey man.
Hello, hello. What's up, dude?
Good, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. I'm ready to do another coach lesson, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, I'm ready.
So,
Stream.
yeah, I stream's on now, so you'll have this as a VOD always to like look back at, because I'll post it to you by probably like tomorrow, once I post it to YouTube.
Sweet.
So dude, I assume you're Diamond from memory, but let me know your league. I also know you're Protoss, but are you Diamond, just to make sure?
Yeah, actually, funny enough, got promoted to Diamond 1 last night.
Diamond 1. Oh shit, dude, you're about to be Masters. Okay.
I don't know. 4K coming in hot.
All right, man, that sounds good. What matchup do you think you want to focus on today then?
So, I've always had the most trouble with Zerg, but from the bronze to GM, I've kind of started to go Skytoss, and it's been working quite well. The adepts were not really working out. I think everybody knows how to hold them now. But tell you the truth, even though I've been winning, I don't know if that's really my fault or my opponent's just not responding right.
Yeah. Okay.
I think I have a pretty good understanding of Terran. Mech used to give me trouble, but again, the bronze to GM really helped me with the Tempest Disruptor. So I think, you know, PvZ would be a good thing to focus on.
Is there like, so you're talking about BGM stuff. I can't remember exactly if I did multiple styles or not in there, but what kind of style against Zerg do you think you like to mostly focus on?
I've always been a pretty, I guess, I don't know if patient is the right word, but you remember that old player Rain before he went back to Brood War?
Yeah, the Terran player?
Yeah.
Or no, the Protoss player. The Protoss player.
Yeah,
there was two
kind
Rains.
of macro reactive style. I like how stats plays, not too aggressive. I do like to sit back, which obviously doesn't work so well against Zerg.
You know, just a funny story. The first time I played Rain was at MLG in like a championship bracket, and he fucking immortal all-in me twice, and he fucking destroyed me.
Must have been the only all-ins he ever did.
Yeah, he fucking all-in me, dude. With 2 immortal all-ins. This was like it was like back in the parting days of just like the train and Wings of Liberty,
Yes.
like the ends of Wings.
On fucking Metalopolis or some shit, huh?
Yeah, it was awful. I just got destroyed by force fields.
He was scared of the macro.
Yeah, I just remember that because I was like, oh, cool, I have to play Rain, and I knew who that was. I was like, that's sick. All right.
Yeah,
all right, man.
I'm not the parting style. I'm much more of a stat style.
Okay. So, an idea of a like I'm just thinking about defensive reactionary styles against Zerg.
Yeah.
How does I'm thinking what sounds good. I feel like a good style to go for would be something like this. Okay, you can tell me if this sounds good to you, and we'll we can go from there. I really do, honestly, in today's age, I think Skytoss transitions are fucking insanely good if you're gonna play defensive. Do you like the sound of that already or no?
Yeah. So that's what I've been doing the last, I don't know, week or so. And at first, I didn't really get the build down, got too many Void Rays, carriers were late, and dying to Hydras. But the last few days when I've started, improving the build, I find that it does fit my playstyle, and I have been enjoying it.
Okay, so, I would say, like a Stargate opener would be a bit intense. I don't think it's... You know what, actually, I'm actually going to recommend that to you. I'm not going to lie. I've been doing Stargate openers, and no one knows how to handle it if you do it a certain way. Like, people just fall apart. And I can already think of a way that you could do it that would be insanely good. And the only question I would have for you is, are you comfortable with disruptors or no?
Yeah.
You are?
That's what I've been using, carrier disruptor, basically.
Fuck, dude. Okay.
Ron's the GM said no storm till Masters, so I'm holding off on the storm.
Okay. To be fair, disruptors are harder to use than Templars. I'm not gonna lie, but they're rechargeable. So, okay, here's an idea then. I have an idea for a build for you. This would be how it would go. The build could open up with a Stargate expand with with Forge as well, where you could actually properly saturate your bases, your expansions, and set them up like really fast with a little bit of static D. So you'll go single Stargate into voids, which is being able to poke around, and you'll force reactions out of Zerg because of this. Most Zergs you'll play against will probably react to this by going for Hydras. It's just very common. I would say it happens probably 90% of the time. Especially in like Diamond and low Masters. Then out of this, you'll go into like just defensive play with everything else. Every other unit you'll make will be defensive in terms of like your disruptors, any gateway unit you'll make. And you won't even make that many disruptors either. We're talking about literally like making 5 or less. Never more than that, really. And once you get to a point where you actually have enough disruptors, or sorry, once you have enough air units, like disruptors are kind of irrelevant anyways. And then I would actually tell you, because you're about to be masters, so fuck it, dude. We're gonna do this for you. I think then you could use Storm. You could just replace disruptors with Storm, and your disruptors could just literally suicide at that point or whatever. It doesn't really matter.
I used to play with Templar all the time until I watched the Bronze to GM, and then I was like, oh, okay. Well then.
Well, this build's like a hard counter to Zerg, and it's basically just you open up Void, you defend yourself with good SimCity and Disruptor, and then it switches into Skytoss with Storm, because the only thing Skytoss is vulnerable to, honestly, is Corruptor. And if you have if you have Storm and Archon, you would just shit on Corruptor. It's so much easier for you to kill that.
I would like to shit on some Corruptors, so yeah, let's do that.
Okay, good, perfect. Okay, so I think you added me. I heard an ad, so I'm assuming that was you, right? Are you Benji?
Yep, that's me.
Okay, I just assumed. Because there's like 15 pinning invites. Okay,
Can imagine.
I'm going to add you to the group. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and... this is what I want to do. I want to give you a build that I'll make for you first. And then after that, I want to play you while you do the build. And I will not play against you like I'm fucking GM. I'll play against you like I honestly think a average Diamond player would. Like, Diamond to low Masters. And then I'll do... what I would do against you is I'll do what I think most people will do to you, which is going to be Hydra timings. And we'll see how well you can hold it, and we can talk about it. Does that sound good?
Yeah, deal.
Okay. So, I'm going to go ahead... Like, just know that the big part about this build is going to be how fast you expand. It's a pretty big deal. Let's do a map that like everybody feels comfortable on, something like this one or something. Just a map that's like more standard. All right, so I'll make you referee. You can ask me questions throughout it. By all means, ask me. If anything is on your mind that doesn't make sense that I'm doing, I'll answer it. But yeah, I'll just basically what I'm gonna do is, like I said, I'm gonna go for a fast expand. I'm gonna go for fast voids. I'm going to take a third with a forge, and I'm gonna just force reactions out of Zerg with voids. Because if Zerg were to all in you, if you have voids, you're almost never gonna die to all ins. Like, voids are insane at stopping Lingbane, Roach Ravager, anything like that. And we're also gonna make like an initial setup to like not die. So I'm gonna make a sentry as well. I'll explain it as we go.
Yeah.
And then you go into just disruptors, because disruptors would just destroy the any type of like a Queen Hydra counter all in.
You know, one of the first games I tried to do Skytoss, because I never used to do it because I hated oracles, and I didn't have the control to really, make them efficient. I just fly into a spore and die, or not get any kills at all.
Yeah.
I actually tried to mute us, and I didn't know if that was a legit response to seeing voids come out, and I asked the guy, and he was like, "Oh, I don't know. I just thought it would be a good idea," and it just wrecked me.
Yeah,
is that like
it actually is? It is. It like going mutas is a good response, which is why when you harass someone with voids, I'll show you what to look for. And if you see mutas, all you do is you just make like a couple extra stargates earlier than you normally would have, otherwise, and you go into Phoenix and you just destroy muta.
Yeah. I think that's my favorite thing to do is beat mass muto.
Yeah.
With Phoenix.
Yeah, no, it feels great.
Makes me feel very good.
Yeah, because Phoenix are faster, and you can also upgrade the range, and then suddenly you can just micro and kill them all.
No shit, I've had nightmares about mutos when I first started playing StarCraft. It's like, I can't do anything. It's fucking killing me.
This build will definitely make mutas obsolete if you just know what to look for. And the biggest thing what to look for is when you look at someone's base, all you gotta look for is their gas investment, like if they have a lot of it or not, and also look at their current tech. Do they have any Banes? Do they have any Roaches? Or do they have literally nothing that costs gas? The more that they have nothing that costs gas, and the more gas they're investing into, the more likely they're going mutas. And then if you straight up just see the Spire, then it's just obviously mutas.
Yeah. So you went 19 Nexus there.
Yeah, I chrono boosted my probes.
Okay.
you know, at a time. Basically, I would say this. Okay, this is honest opinion here. 19 Nexus, 20 Nexus. Either one's fine. The only difference really would be if you chrono boost the Nexus, the second your pylon's done, your first pylon, you'll probably be getting a 20 Nexus. But if you actually delay your chrono boost a little bit and your money stacks up a little bit more before you really throw it in that chrono, you'll probably take a 19 Nexus. Either way, it's fine. It's not the end of the world either way. It's fine. It's a very minor alteration. Just honestly, I would say just throw down the fucking Nexus when you have the money to do it.
Right. And 20 Nexus, 20 Cyber.
Yeah, and immediately throw down the Cyber. The second you have the Nexus, try to make the Cyber like right away, because your gateway will be done. 20
Assimilator, 21 Pylon.
Yep. Well, okay, more like 21 Assimilator, 22 Pylon. The reason why is because you don't want to cut probes and then make the Pylon and the Assimilator as well. You just want to cut probes while you make the core and then make probe again.
Okay.
Okay, and we're chrono boosting probes now the whole time. And we're going to make a Stargate. Now, we make the Sentry first, then we make the Stargate. And when you make the Stargate, make a battery. This is because you're going to be really fucking greedy. So you definitely don't want to like under defend yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And you can wall off with the Stargate too. It's fine. It doesn't really matter if Zerg knows what you're doing. You actually want Zerg to see the Stargate sometimes because, or most of the time, because you want Zerg to react by rushing Hydras, because you'll crush Hydra pressures with this kind of a build. Like it's actually.
You open.
What's up?
Stalker Adept.
I would say don't make Adepts at all with this.
Okay.
You're gonna make barely any gateway units at all. The only reason why you don't want to make Adepts is because you're only vulnerable to an all-in. Like we're talking Ling Bane, Roach Ravager, and Stalker is better than Adept against all of that. Because Banes will just blow up the Adepts super easy. Ravagers will, like, Adepts will feel like they do nothing against Ravager-based all-ins. It'll just feel awful.
I know the feeling.
Yeah. Now that we have our bases, like, you know, we got 16 on the middle line. We're good to go on that. The Void Ray is almost out. We can go into taking our third. We can just send like one Stalker to escort it just so that the Zergling doesn't annoy the crap out of us. And we make like a pylon, whatever. Let's get the base, get ready to go. And we'll make another Void now.
Plus right after Warp Gate's done.
Yep. And the Void, honestly, should stay defensive until you do something here, okay? Do not leave with the Void Ray until you do this. Make the third first. Make a battery at your third. And, you know, get your third prepared here. Make a forge. So invest in a third first, invest in a forge second. So third plus pylon first, then forge second, while you're still maintaining Void Ray production. As soon as you have the forge down, make your robo. So you again, third's priority, and then forge, and then robo. And then as soon as your forge is done, you still keep your Void Rays defensive. This is super risky if you don't do this. Make a cannon at your third. You can tuck it in the back. I would say the first cannon should go in the back, so you can like have it more tucked away. And wait until your cannon's almost done. We're talking like literally about like 60%. And you can start another cannon as well in your natural. So cannon at your third first, cannon at your natural second. Keep chrono boosting your Nexus. I just chrono boosted my Stargate like one time just to get the initial Void Ray out, but now we're good. And now the cannon's almost done, so now we can move out. And here's the great...
The Overlords are on my main
you can do it with like a second Void Ray if you really see an Overlord you can go kill, but I would say definitely make sure your third doesn't get overpowered. If your third breaks, this build sucks.
Right.
And then really, see how fast I'm taking a fourth base? This is how fucking ridiculous this build is. You expand to 4 bases fucking super fast. And look at what my Voids are doing. They're covering my fourth now. Just for a second until my cannons are started. Now my Robo Bay is getting started. I have an Observer. I'm starting shield upgrades. I'm starting more weapon upgrades. I can go now into like 3 Stargate plus Fleet Beacon because now I'm having a fuckload of money. Like my saturation is already really high really fast. So I want to have the ability to have fast Void Rays now and also get ready to make carriers. And I would say whenever you have the need to make more pylons, make them behind your mineral lines at your bases just so you can have cannon battery around your bases whenever that happens. Like whenever you're going to get ready to do that. Because it's what's going to help you deal with mutas if it happens. And now we have a cannon and a battery started in my 4th base. We can now we can transfer some oversaturated probes from my 3rd to my 4th. We can send our voids out now. Once you get real
destination.
I would say honestly, You can send your first one out if you feel like you're confused as to what the hell's happening and you really don't know. But I would say it's better to keep it for force fields, just for now. Like, one hallucination's fine, but mostly force field is where you want to be at. And now it would be just start chrono boosting out a couple disruptors and start making carrier with void ray speed. So we're going into straight carrier with, we're not making mini voids, okay? The build is not actually supposed to be tons of voids. It's like we're talking literally 4, 5 voids, anywhere in that number is fine, and stop. It's just the initial harassment. It's just a force reactions out of Zerg. And you can harass Zerg with your voids now once your bases are like this. They're all kind of set up. You can now at this point too, throw down more cannons at your outer bases. Like we're talking, throw down like 4 cannons at your third, 4 cannons at your natural. Or not your natural, sorry. 4 cannons at your third and fourth, the outer bases. And then you just pressure with voids. This is when you scout for metas, and you really, like, you can throw a scout at him occasionally with your sentry if you feel if you feel like you have a lot of energy. That's totally fine. I'm not against it, but it's just more like you're scouting to see if the guy's gonna go muta or not. If you see roaches, it's most likely not mutas. If you see, you know, gas investments in any other way that's not Aspire, like early on, like Hydras, it's probably not mutas. But it's just, at this point now, it's just literally disruptors and carriers with upgrades of shields and air weapons while you just fucking poke with voids. And you just keep poking with voids. You try never to lose them. Like, don't ever take fights you're going to die in. Just make him feel pressured by them and be annoying as fuck. What the voids can also do at this point in time is they can basically, like, you can make an observer too. Or I already did make one, but you can bring it with you. And you can even upgrade observer speed. So you have void ray speed and observer speed, and you could just kill creep. Just fly around his base and fucking kill creep. Just be super annoying. And then, you know, you have your next base finished. It's all about just like making cannons at every new expansion, making batteries, and just defensively sitting on your base with like up to about 4 or 5 disruptors that you'll make in succession one by one. And you just wait and you wait and you wait. And once you have an army of just max carriers, and let's say you haven't lost your disruptors, he hasn't really attacked you yet, or he's barely done any damage to you, whatever. At that point, I would say, once you have like 12, 13, 14 carriers, somewhere in that range, you would want to go into, what's it called? The storm at that point. So now, basically, we're getting higher in supply. My money's still pretty high. We can throw down a couple more Stargates. We could now throw down an extra like 5 or 6 gateways to go into the ability to make Templars and also charge lots for later. So far, the pacing, again, so far all it is it's Void Ray, set up your expansions, like Void Ray opener, into the ability to then pressure him with voids to be annoying, kill creep, make Zerg feel contained. If Zerg were to push you, you just defend yourself with carrier disruptor and you can bring your voids back. If Zerg does not push you, you just make carrier defensively. You eventually throw away your voids, you eventually throw away your disruptors, and just go back into maxed out Mothership Carrier Archon Templar. So when I get my Templar Archives, you can start Storm and Charge. You can keep upgrading all of your upgrades of weapons and shields. Weapons on Core, shields on Forge, Charge on Twilight Council, Storm on Templar Archives. And you don't make charge lots like now, but you have the ability to go into them later. At this point too, I would say a good thing to do would be go back to your main and your natural. And just make sure you maybe throw down like maybe 2 cannons and a battery and mineral lines just in case he does go muta. So you're not just going to be like, well, fuck me, I got nothing to defend that. But you can see my 3rd and 4th and 5th, they all have cannons and batteries all over the place. So those are fine. Those bases are good to go. I know I'm talking really fast, but so far does everything make sense?
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember the order of things. A 3rd Forge Robo.
Yeah, and then now at this point, you see I'm maxed out. I would just say at this point, you would want to just throw away your voids. And if you're not currently about to be all in by a bunch of Hydras, throw away your your disruptors too. And then you can even throw away your stalkers. You can throw away your sentry, like all the shit on the ground that's like supply that you don't need right now. Just throw it away. Because
don't want to keep a sentry guardian shield, or does that not matter?
You don't need guardian shield. You do not need that.
Okay.
You're going to annihilate the Zerg, and the sentry is, it's not even, it's just gonna be awkward. It's just waste. You don't need it.
Okay.
I would say the best army you could make, like the most ideal composition of things you could have, would be you'd want to have roughly anywhere between 12 and 14 carriers. Like if you get to like 15, that probably means you have less probes. That's fine. But a good, healthy, double-digit number of carrier is ideal. And then what you want to have with that, I would say, would be a great thing to have as well, would be roughly about 3 to 4 Archon and then a few Templar. So if you look at a point where, like, let's just say you're like, well, okay, I have a good carrier count of, like, you know, like we're talking like 14 or whatever. How many do I actually have? I have, right now I have 13 and sorry, you're right, I have 11 and I'm about to have 2 more to have 13 because there are 2 more buildings. So now I have 13. That's a good number to have. That's good. I have a mothership. I have some Archons. Or I mean, I have some Templar that I could make with other shit, but I only have 3 more Templars available. I would say I have too many probes. So what you could do now, if you actually realize, okay, well I have 94 probes, honestly, I would say you should probably, like, if it will, I guarantee it'll happen to you because you're expanding so fucking fast. Just literally kill your probes. Like a few of them.
80 probes is the target here?
Yeah, like go down to like 84 or so. That'd be a nice number to have. Or like 85. Yeah. 85 is fine. And now you could actually make some more Templar. And you can make Archons out of these. And again, I would say the good number to have would be, let's just say 4 Archons. 4 is a fucking solid number. And then 4 Archons, 6 Templar, an Observer, and a Mothership. And then the like 13, 14 carriers. That's a solid. That army is solid as fuck. And all you do is you put everything in the same control group. Put everything in one control group except for your Templar. And it literally becomes one, like, let's just say you have 2 control groups of 1 and 2 or whatever. You can A-move everything and move command your Templar behind it. A-move everything, move command your Templar behind it. And when you fight the Zerg, all you do is you A-move him. And then you go back to your Templar and you go move command Templar towards the fight and go storm, 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 storm. This is all you do. Now, if you get to a point in the game where the game is not ended from your army, all you want to do is you keep expanding like I am in top left right now. Just throw down every base you make like this. Just be like, okay, I make like 10 cannons or something, like 5 batteries, make my gases. Call it a day. You can rotate new probes, or your existing probes that are mining out of the bases to the new bases. So you can always keep your mining really going well. Always try your best never to not expand for a long time. So I would say, even though I just took a new base right now, I could honestly just take another one because I have control. Expand based off control with this kind of a build. So you can set up ecstatic D at it and shit like that. And then if you ever lose army, and let's say you just don't have enough time to remax on carriers right away, what you could do to make your life easy is you could also just make waves of charge lots to fuck with the Zerg, essentially. So you could always send zealots like at counterattacks to kill other bases. And at this point now, when you have an army like this, the best thing to do is not to just go straight for the heart of Zerg. Do not ever do that. Fight the outside of Zerg's creep and the outside of Zerg's expansions. Always kill his creep and his expansions. Just fucking starve him.
Is that to avoid a surround?
Is that, sorry, what'd you say?
So don't go into the heart. Is that to avoid being surrounded?
Yeah, it's also because you don't want to take a fight that's unnecessarily going to be hard for you. This army is ridiculously powerful if you make him come to you rather than you go to him. And you will make him come to you if you keep killing the edge of his creep and also the edge of his expansions. And then the last thing you can do to make this really, really, really powerful, once you're at a stage where, like, you see how my economy is ridiculously high, and I have a super high economy, and I have a lot of, like, I'm maxed out, I have so much money to work with. Go back to your base, and throw down a Dark Shrine, and throw down, like, another, like, 6 or 8 gateways. Go up to, like, literally, like, 14 gates or something. And the reason why this is super good is because what you can do now with this position is you can go into Dark Templar to defend counterattacks, or Dark Templar to counterattack him if you want to just add in extra problems for your opponent. And you could also do bigger charge lot waves now if you feel like it's an opportunity to do it, essentially. Because I mean, if you have the money to do it, you might as well do it. It's very fucking powerful. And it's literally just, again, it's just one A move, and then like 2 or 3, whatever you put your Templars on, move them in, and just storm. On anything you see.
Mothership in that control group.
Yeah, leave your mothership in your control group of everything. So if you actually have to fight an army, that's like, let's say that's the huge army attack is, you can just hit 1 time warp. That's it, because it takes the priority. It takes priority over observers and over carriers and over archons, because every other unit in this group is an auto attacking unit.
And does not know the spellcasters in that group.
Yeah.
Not with this army anyway.
Exactly. And then one thing you could do too, if it is mass, like corruptor, a good thing you can do is honestly tell your main army like one to focus fire the center of the corruptor. So it doesn't matter if your carriers focus fire, but what it will do is it'll make your archons focus fire.
Right.
And your archons will fucking obliterate the corruptor. And then all it would be from here, again, because like to talk about what you could finally turn this into, would be just make sure, again, you're saturating your bases properly. This is the big part about it, is keeping your economy running like a boss. But like, look if the Zerg were to counterattack any of your bases. It would be a fucking nightmare. He'd be like, okay, well, this sucks. And check this out.
Especially with DTs.
I don't. Can you hit return to game? Did you get kicked out of the game already?
No.
Okay, so stay in the game for a second and just check this out. Like this is the power of what this could be now, just really fast. So if you were to lose a lot of supply of your army, which will happen sometimes, what you could do now is that, like, if you check out what I'm doing now with my forge and my cyber core, I'm upgrading armor on the core. I'm upgrading weapons now on the forge. You should definitely do this.
I've been in your first person view the whole time.
No, what? Sorry.
I've been in your first person view the whole time, so.
Okay, so you're still in the game though, right?
Yeah, I've been watching everything.
Okay. But what you can do now is, since we're continuing upgrades now to get weapons for ground units and armor for air units now, we're just getting the others that are still important. If you were to be getting counterattacked, let's say at your middle right base, where it's like, all right, well, there's a fuckload of Zerglings or Roaches and Hydras or whatever. If you ever see an opportunity that there's no Overseer, because sometimes Zergs will fly their Overseer into your cannons and it will die, you could warp in a fuckload of DTs. If there's just Lings and you don't want to waste your gas, you can make a bunch of Zealots. But let's just say hypothetically it was like Ultras and Lings or Hydras, and there was no detection. You could just be like, cool, I'll just warp in a shitload of DTs. I will now counterattack your army, and you could then use these to, you know, jump over bases in the future, or you could just make them into Archons if you wanted to and just add them into your army. I would say be careful though about making too many Archons. You definitely don't want to have an Archon focused army. Just, you have the ability to reinforce defense anywhere, so it makes it so ridiculously hard for Zerg to kill your economy. And then on top of that, it's really hard for Zerg to kill your army because this army, deathball wise, is ridiculously powerful. So
okay,
this is the whole build. The best thing about this build that works amazingly, and I'm going to tell you right now, this build will work up to GM. I use this build myself against Zerg, and it's funny how much Zerg gets crushed by this. Myself, like right now. The reason why is because Zergs react. They can't react by all-inning you when you go Stargate Opener. It's really hard to kill a Stargate Opener with like Lingbane Roach Ravager, because Stargate Openers are super fucking effective. And then also the fact that you have overcharge on battery is insane at holding all-ins too. So if you were to do like a really fast Nidus with Queens, I would say at that point just keep making Stalkers and make Void Rays and you'll be fine. And just make batteries and you'll be able to overcharge your batteries and you'll be able to clean out what's happening to you. So it's really got really high potential at all-in defense. Now, it's really easy to take your thirds as well because you're taking it with Stargate units. So you're always punishing Zerg ground units if they ever try to counterattack you, which is why I told you to be defensive. So it gets really fast economy. And then if the Zerg reacts by going for really fast, like really fast ground-based all-ins, like a Hydra all-in, you have the ability to go for really fast disruptors. So you like 1 or 2 really good disruptor shots while fighting over cannon battery is going to make your life super easy, because then there's not enough Hydras to burst through the batteries anymore. And also if he goes for air, ideally you're going to want to see that, and the way you can do that, like you were talking about before, which I should have done more in this game but I didn't do enough, is you have the ability to use a hallucinated Phoenix with your sentry to scout if you don't know what the fuck is going on. If you do know you're getting all in, maybe save it for Guardian Shield or Force Fields. If you know it's going to be like, oh yeah, he's being aggressive right now, and I'm about to get attacked. But if it's like a mystery, then definitely use a hallucinated Phoenix. And
just the one sentry.
Literally only one sentry. You don't want to spend as much. You want to spend as little gas as possible, so that you can make disruptors as fast as possible, and also never stop making Void Ray out of the one Stargate, which is going to take you to about 5 Void Rays before you actually add on the Fleet Beacon and go into carrier.
Okay. And like 1 or 2 observers out of the robo and then straight into disruptor.
Yes, and only make observers before your robo bay is done, like while you're building it, because the robo facility will be done too.
Done, build the robo bay.
Yes, you don't delay that. That's why you're trying to save as much gas as you can.
Okay.
The only gas expenses you have is like 1 or 2 stalkers. I would say 2 stalkers is fine. You can kind of stop at 2 stalkers. If you see no pressure by
Before
then.
warp gate.
Yeah, like exactly. Once your warp gate's done, only add in stalkers if you see him attacking you. Otherwise, just don't even do it. Because you're making voids the whole time anyways. And the faster you... The less stalkers you make, the faster you can make disruptors, which is what you want anyways. So
you need to have, what, 3 or 4 gates?
No, at the start of the game, you're going to have 1. Literally just one. Because you're making cannon. That's why I tell you to make the forge so fast. Because you're making cannon battery as well.
Cannons, okay.
Because you want to spend as little gas as possible out of your gateways, and you're not getting charged until, like, we're talking like 170 supply or something like that, like way later.
Because the Hydra attacks have been giving me trouble on my third, but I think that's because I've not been very good at getting the carriers out quickly, so it's the adepts that have really been saving me.
Yeah, you don't, honestly, with this build, I would say you don't even want to make adepts. Like, that is an option. Adepts would be an option, but I would say a better way to use adepts would be if you're actually going to use resonating glaives and do adept timings, and then go Skytoss. That would be a totally different kind of a playstyle, and that'd be good with adepts. But if you just go defensive, unupgraded adepts, they're pretty fucking awful.
Yeah. Yeah, my adept openings they just got smashed. I mean, I'd maybe get 3 or 4 worker kills before I lose everything. So I said, you know, we gotta try something else.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna pop out of that game, and then I'm gonna just play you really quick, and you now, like, I would say this: save the replay we just did, so you have a reference as to what I just did. I'll play you in a game right after, and I'll watch you do how you did it. And what I'm going to do to you is I am going to do a Hydra build to you, a Hydra timing, because that's what most people will do to you. It's rare when someone will go meet us to you, but if someone does, all it would be is your hallucinated scouts. If you don't see Hydras, and if you don't see Roaches, and you just don't see ground units at all, maybe it's just the Zerglings, all you would do then is, instead of making carriers when you add on Stargates, you would just start making Phoenix. For up until you have like 10 Phoenix, and then make carrier.
Get range or no?
You would definitely get range. If it is mutas, definitely get range.
Okay.
But yeah, like, just basically if you see what looks like a threatening muta potential attack to you, definitely make some Phoenix. But you're still making the Stargates at the same time, and when you make those Stargates, so listen to this. This is the final build, okay? This is the way to really explain it. You expand normally with the Nexus, Gate, Core, whatever. You take your natural. You make your Stargate right away as soon as you have enough gas. Like, you make your Stalker and a Stargate, essentially, and then you make your Sentry. And you make a battery when you make the Stargate. You stay on this, and you just make probes with this, and you make voids. When you take your third base, right after, you start your Robo and your Forge. And you keep defensive voids until you have cannons at your third, and one cannon and one battery at your third. You then take your fourth base really quick right after. Like, a good time to know when you're taking your fourth at an appropriate time is right around 6 minutes. Like, your third goes down around 4 minutes. Your fourth goes down around 6 minutes. It's really fucking fast. When you throw down your fourth base, that then pairs with your extra Stargates and your fleet beacon. And you should go up to basically the base count you have. That's how many Stargates you should make. So you should add on 3 more Stargates and your fleet beacon at the same time. So you go up to a total of 4 Stargates on 4 bases.
And when I'm taking the fourth, I should have 4 or 5 Voiders, 2 Stalkers maybe, and 1 Sentry, and that's it for my unit count.
Yeah, and also Disruptors.
The Disruptors will be out by then?
You should, yeah, because you're going to be starting Disruptors by then. So, like, because again, you're starting your Robo right after your third is set up. Like, you're making the Forge and Robo, like, right away when you have enough money, after you've invested into the cannon, or the pylon and the Nexus. And then you make the Robo and the Forge, and then when the Forge is done, then you make the cannon and the battery at your third. So you make the Robo, like, ASAP.
Right, and you take your natural gas before your third.
Yeah, you take your natural gas when your natural is like 14 to 16 probes, and that's right around the same time when you're going to send a probe towards your third.
Okay.
And then you do the same thing with your third base. Once your third base has about like 14 probes on it or so, you send a probe to your fourth, and you take your gases at your third.
Okay.
And then that's when you take all your Stargates, and you take all that shit. And then once your fourth is fully saturated, and you're making all your carriers, and you're like, okay, well, I'm about to be at 80 probes. I'm looking fucking solid on economy. All my production's being utilized. I'm making the Disruptors. I'm making all my carriers now. We're looking good. Then you can add on your Templar Archives. You can add on like an additional 5 gateways to go to a total of 6 gates. And at that point as well, you can also add on more cannons in front of your third and in front of your fourth. We're talking like an extra like 5 cannons and like 1 more battery at both bases. So you're really fortifying yourself as you switch into carriers. And you know, because that's when you're really going to be pumping carriers. Like carriers are the priority, but then as you're starting to make them and you're waiting for the second round to begin because you're waiting for the first round to finish, that's when you make all the other shit while you're waiting.
Okay.
And then once you're making the next round of carriers, again, if you have more money excess and you're like, well, now I'm around like 180 supply, like I'm getting up there, like or like 170 supply, like you're getting close to being maxed out. That is when you can make like another base. You can make like your 5th base and get ready because your main base is going to be mining out around then. So always try to expand around the time when you mine out on beyond 4 bases. For every base that from that point on then starts to mine out, start another base. You can then, once you're at that point and you have your money starts to add up again, that's when you add on Charge, Storm out of the Templar Archives. So you pair those together and you can add on now again like another like 8 gateways or so, or 6 gateways to go up to a total of like 12 or 14 gateways. And you should be.
That's around the 5th base timing.
Yeah. And it's like, like the last gateways are after the 5th base.
Okay.
They're basically going to be like right when you max out, essentially. Like when you have more money again. Just to
So I
spare.
should max on disruptors first before I start transitioning into Storm?
Yes. The only time that doesn't make sense is if you scout a Spire early and you're like, oh fuck, this guy's not even going Hydras at all. He's straight up Spire.
Corruptors, yeah.
Then, or like, yeah, exactly. Either Corruptor or Muta. If it's Muta, you can still do the build kind of the way it is where you just kind of skip Disruptors now and you just go into, you delay the carriers a little bit by making a round of Phoenix. Go to like 10 Phoenix and then you're good. With Phoenix range, you'll be fine. And then go carrier. If it's straight up right into Corruptor, you could make more Voids. Go to like maybe 10 Voids and to play defensively over Cannon Battery. And then maybe skip Disruptors and go faster Archons with that. If that, because that will just fuck over Corruptors a lot harder and maybe get Storm faster. But if it's a standard Zerg player who goes Hydras, just do it standard where you make Disruptors, go to like 4 or 5 Disruptors. Either way is fine. The 4 is good enough. 5 is like probably stop there. You don't want to overinvest in Disruptors. And then, you're making carriers either way. Because the ideal composition, no matter what, eventually will always become what I talked about, which is 4 Archons, about 14 carriers, Mothership, and like 6 Templars for Storm, and like 1 or 2 Observers. That's your ideal composition, always. That's like the God mode army for Protoss.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. So
there's lots of lurkers in Diamond too.
Yeah. Well,
Lurker Hydra seems to be a pretty common.
Disruptor will
response,
fucking destroy that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, because that's what I think most people in Diamond will play. They'll just literally go Hydras for like Hydra timings all the time. That's every time I play against players that are like sub 5K. We're talking like 4. If I ever play someone like 4.2, 4.4, 4.5, 4.8, it's always Hydras. It's like 1 out of 30 Zergs go Mutas.
Yeah. In my experience too.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna make another game, and this time I'll play you with my Zerg, and then we'll really quickly jump into it afterwards, and I'll just give you a refresher as to like if you're doing it in the right order. So again, don't be aggressive with your voids until you have cannon battery, like 1 cannon and 1 battery set up at your base, just so you have something to stall and your probes don't just get obliterated. And then you can always recall your voids at that point if you need to. But you'll basically
void speed. Sorry, go on.
I was gonna say the reason why the voids have to be defensive though is because if you move out with the voids early and you're going like Overlord hunting, if you don't realize there's like a Ling run by coming to your cannon as it's under construction, it's just gonna die, and then your third base is gonna lose probes, and then you're gonna get fucked. Like everything's gonna fall behind super hard for your build. So it's definitely in your best interest if you just pace fast, because Zergs, I guarantee, when they see how fast you're expanding like this, they will panic react to what you're doing. They'll be like, holy fuck, this guy's on a 4th already? Like, I gotta go now. And exactly. Yeah. And then if you're just defensive with cannon battery and disruptor with voids, you're gonna be like, okay, well, not that hard to deal with. Like, it feels fucking good. Like, I'll crush your attack. And then always don't forget to overcharge your battery if you're getting attacked at a base heavily.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So, housekeeping question. Wait for the energy and the battery to finish before I overcharge it?
No, just do it right away. The reason why you would do it right away is because it heals like 3 times faster when it's overcharged.
Okay.
So you definitely need the benefit of like keeping your units alive longer. Because if you think about it like this, like the energy in the battery is nice. It's still going to be there though anyways after you overcharge it. Then it will start depleting its energy.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, but if you actually need if you use your overcharge right away, when I have the highest amount of DPS in my army, it's going to give you the best chance to counter my high DPS threshold.
Makes sense. And void speed as soon as the fleet beacon's done.
Yeah, so you can then really be aggressive with your voids, because at that point, it doesn't matter if you lose them, if you're now making carriers, because you're going to want to lose them eventually anyways, because you want to have no voids in your army at the end of the game. You just want to do as much damage as you can. I would say definitely don't throw them away at that point, but you could be more aggressive with them, like kill creep a little more aggressively, maybe kill a queen here and there, kill a fucking drones if you can, to kill overlords. Just make the Zerg feel pressured at that point if you can.
Okay.
And because here's
always been my
yeah, this is the big thing too.
Too passive, you know.
If you aren't even doing damage to him, but you're making him feel defensive, you're still winning the game, because you're buying yourself time indirectly to just make a bigger death ball.
Carriers.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So it's as long as he stays defensive, you're still winning the game.
Okay.
All right, you ready to go?
Yep.
All right, so yeah, just do your best. I'll try to. If you have a question as like when to build something, feel free to ask, but I'll try not to distract you. And then after it's over, we'll take a quick look at it, and I'll make sure you're doing it all right.
Sounds good. Might gain a sub out of this whole thing.
Oh. All right, so I muted myself, so this is more for the VOD. But yeah, I don't want to distract them. But yeah, I'm gonna for the people who are watching this now, I'm gonna basically do what I view in my mind like diamond level play, and I'm just gonna do like I'm gonna do a Hydra pressure, because most diamond players will react like this. It will be medium to low economy. I'll probably go to like 60 drones, and then I'll just go for Hydra, and we'll see how well they can handle that.
Probably try not to stream cheat too, huh?
Oh, are you still listening to the stream right now?
I just had it up.
I was gonna say, if you're listening to me twice, that must be like super distracting.
No,
like,
I hadn't muted it, just so I was able to forget that.
Yeah. Just know, just to tell you what I'm gonna do, I am gonna do an attack against you, like a medium economy attack against you with Hydras. This is what most, like I'm gonna probably hit like 60 drones and attack you, or like 58 or something.
I wish all of my opponents would be so transparent.
Yeah. This is what most people will do though, because most Zergs will panic when they see how fast your fourth is.
Yeah, okay. I think I might panic seeing how fast my fourth is.
Yeah.
And only one chrono on the main Nexus, huh?
Yeah. Chrono after first and second pylon. So 2 chronos after the second chrono after second pylon.
Okay.
Alright guys. Alright, chat. Yeah. Yeah. Put it over there. Don't forget to make a battery right now, because if Zerg does all in you right now, they'll kill you if you don't have a battery.
Thank you.
Birth successful.
I have camera hotkeys, which is how I toggle my bases so fast like this. It makes it easy to like rotate your map around. The question was, how do I toggle my units or my camera so fast?
I win, right?
That was good.
I was just joking.
Yeah, that was super good. You're on your way to success now. Yeah, no, if you didn't have a battery there, your stalker might have died. That would suck. That would have been annoying.
I've lost more than a few games like that.
Yeah. And don't forget as well to make sure, I can't see if you're doing it, but make sure you make the pylon right away at your third, and then make your forge right after, so you can make a cannon as soon as possible.
Yep. Really what I forgot was my air upgrade.
It's okay. It definitely you want it, but as long as you're making voids the whole time, you have a good chance to not take damage from things like what I'm about to do to you right now. This is what I feel like. Most players in Diamond will play aggressive as fuck. And even Masters. This is why I want you to keep the voids defensive.
Yeah.
That was good. Now, at this point, the biggest goal for you would be getting your fourth base started now. Same way you're going to defend it the way you just defended your third. And make sure you're making disruptors. Like, they need to be chrono boosted, like, now. If you're not doing it. Like, you need to chrono boost your first disruptors. Maybe your first 2 disruptors need to be chronoed out.
Okay.
Because that's, like, crunch time. Because, again, I would say also, I didn't do it either in the example I gave you, but you would probably have already wanted to maybe send, like, 1 hallucinating phoenix at my base just to get, like, maybe a read on my tech if you could have. I know I didn't do that, so it makes it kind of weird, but you should definitely do that. So you're not super blind. But if you have
muscle memory.
If you have 2 disruptors by like 7:15, you should be okay against this. 1 maybe you'll be okay. It depends on that how good that shot is. 2 you'll probably be fine. And
should I keep the disruptors at my natural, or you
should
keep them
at
at
your
voids?
natural. Keep them at your natural.
Okay.
Because you don't know where I'm gonna attack you.
Yeah.
I would say a lot of Zergs will probably attack your third repeatedly because they'll just be tunnel vision on like the base that they see. But
right.
Yeah, I'd make sure you can just defend either base though. You never know. And if you defend this timing, you win the game. I'm just gonna throw it out there and say that because you're gonna be so far ahead economically, and I'll have no way to react to you after that. That was good. So even like right now, don't feel like you're dead. Just make sure probes don't run in and die.
Really? Okay.
And the reason why is because, like, look at your program right now. How many do you have? You probably have like 60 still, I imagine. Like,
Yeah, 60.
I have 51 drones, and you haven't lost any disruptors yet. So you could kill me with good shots. Like, you still have a good chance to win the game right now.
Okay. 1 adept, I'm sure, will make the difference.
Yeah, no. It's just one of those things where, like, I'm gonna go look at your fourth base for a second, see what's going on over here. So if we broke the replay down, it would be one of those things where it would be like, I think you're actually dead now though, because like your voids are all dead now.
Oh yeah, no, I'm dead for sure.
Yeah, but we can jump into the replay really fast. I'll just invite you to it,
Yeah.
and we'll talk about what happened that could have maybe been better. But that like
Well,
all you gotta.
I forgot my carriers.
Yeah.
They were a bit late.
I'll just make sure everything looks good, timing wise, and yeah, no. Otherwise, it was definitely like a good. You had a good opportunity there to. You were very close to like holding that. It was super close. You just gotta like not lose your shit, and also the biggest mistake you made of all was you didn't fight near the battery.
In my mineral line, yeah.
Yeah. So like your disruptors could like maybe throw a shot out and back off, but your void should have reinforced the battery and fought there. So you could have actually like stood your ground and killed hydras, because you fought in the complete wide open with no battery support.
Yeah. I mean, you could focus them down, but still, it would be better, huh?
Yeah, that's because, well, like, you just want to have the voiders actually doing damage. Because if the voiders are just kind of like paperweights in the air where, like, they engage and they just run away because it's like, oh, shit, too many hydras, it's never going to work. You're going to always lose your voids.
Yeah. Maybe if I had a carrier or two out, would have been...
Yeah, no, any unit you would have had, would have helped more. Like, you were very close to holding that.
Okay. And you are GM, so I will take that.
Because, like, I definitely... I paced that game, I feel like, what a Diamond player could do to you. So... Well, I mean, we'll see how you you pace everything here. Because, I mean, now that I've actually seen what you're doing, I can definitely see where you're going if you're making a mistake here and there about how you're building your shit.
Do tell, my friend, do tell.
So far you're fine. You scouted that I have a natural. It's all G. Your Nexus is timed well. Your core is good. I like that you're cutting probes just for a second, and then you go. You should now start probing again. You do. This is good. Now you make a gas, and you make a pylon while probing still. This is really good.
So my scouting probe, I always do this, just patrolling between the potential third bases. That's okay?
I would say, honestly, with this build, just send it back. And the reason why is because you're opening void defensive anyways, so it doesn't matter what you see. Like, if I all-in you, you should be prepared for it anyways, yeah. Like, all you're scouting for is, am I going to all-in you? But the only thing you really should care about is, did I go pool first or did I go hatch first? Because if I did go pool first, you'd need to chrono out a fucking zealot. But if I went hatch first, you can just make your stalker as normal and then make your Stargate.
Okay. Stargate's a bit late.
So you're actually making the Stargate too fast, I would say, as well. You want to make the stalker,
really?
yeah. You want to make the stalker and the warp gate first,
Oh, okay.
and then you chrono out. You chrono the stalker out of the gateway as well. Only the first stalker, and then never chrono your gateway again. And what that stalker can do is it can kill the overlord if I ever try to scout into your base, or if even if I go hatch first, and I'm the kind of guy who likes to save 3 larvae and send 3 larvae to your base like right away of Zerglings, that stalker would be out in time to not lose like any probes or mining time or whatever. Like, it would just kill the lings easy peasy. Which
With
is
the battery.
Well, you would make the battery as you make the Stargate. So
Yeah, okay.
yeah, and like the battery will be like, if I do more than 6 lings and I just do like a speedling rush to you, like you would not die. You know, like you would 100% have a battery there, which you could then also overcharge, and you'd be fine.
So if you flood 30 lings at that point,
You would 100%.
the voider?
Yeah, that's fine. Like with the way the build would go, you would already have a voider in production by the time that would even happen. Like your voider is not going to be delayed by very much. It's very close to what it already is now. It's just that you're playing a little bit risky here by taking a void. So it's also a little bit too expensive because you're going for a Stargate a little bit faster than you can afford. So I imagine you're going to have downtime now in your Stargate.
So I don't want to get too nitpicky here, but what I was going to do was wait for my first probe to get rallied from my main to my natural once I was saturated at my main, and use that to build the Stargate.
You should, yeah.
Is that...
Yes.
Okay.
You'll have the appropriate money to do that if you go Stalker Warp Gate first.
Okay.
And here's the big thing about making Warp Gate first as a priority too. If I Nidus all in you as the Zerg player, if I'm just gonna go that route and I'm gonna fucking go for a Nidus all in, you could then, if you're like, oh fuck, there's a Nidus in my base, use your initial 1 Stargate and 1 Gateway, and you could add somewhere other pylon in your base that's like not at the Nidus. Maybe make like the pylon in your main, for instance. Maybe make 2 or 3 more gateways as you're like, oh fuck, okay, this guy's super all in. Let's abandon the 3rd base and just make more gateways now because I need to not die here. So having warp gate will allow you to actually warp in units once those gateways are done, and it won't be super delayed or not at all existing.
It's easy to panic and forget that you can actually make gateways and just wait the minute or whatever and then actually use them, you know? It's so easy to think, oh my god, I have to do something right now.
Yeah, well, all you got to do to react to something like that is just guard your Nexus with batteries. Don't actually try to kill the Nidus. Just let him come to you where your battery is. Do not go to him where his Nidus is. Because if you do that, you give him, because if you do that, what happens is you eliminate SimCity for yourself. Like, for instance, your Stalker could stand between like a gateway and the Nexus, and suddenly Lings can't surround it. And it's like the same thing as your doorway or natural, for instance. But if you just walk over to the Nidus and you're in the middle of nowhere, now he just speed Link surrounds you, and you're like, well, fuck, I just lost like 3 Stalkers or my Sentry or whatever. You're just like, well, that sucks.
Sounds like you've been watching me, man.
Yeah, no, that's what everyone does. They just freak out, they panic. But if you just abuse the advantages that you have, Zerg can't do shit about it. So if he goes for a really early, low economy Nidus all in, just make batteries, make more gates, defend next to your Nexus, and have the Void Ray kill his Overlord spotters that are going to make future Niduses, and you can keep making Void Rays that can keep guarding your base, and they can just help support your army. And then you can always overcharge the battery every time he tries to take an engagement against you.
Queens aren't armored, are they?
They're not. They're Queens are just psionic.
So overcharge does nothing.
You don't. Yeah, the only unit Zerg can have early game, like we're talking out of hatchery based tech. There's 2 things you can kill that would kill faster. One is an Overlord, and one is a Roach.
Okay.
Ling Bane, Ravager, Queen take no bonus damage.
Okay.
And yeah, it would just be that. That would be what you'd want to do in general. Like, you know, if you were getting like really aggressively Nidus all in. So definitely go Stalker Warp Gate first. And then as soon as your second pylon's done, again, you would... So your first pylon finishes, you chrono boost your Nexus. Your second pylon finishes, you chrono boost your Gateway and your Nexus again. Your second Nexus finishes now. So this is like... now you know what to do with your first 3 chronos. When your second Nexus finishes... By that point, you're just chrono boosting Nexus, 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 Nexus. You can chrono boost if you see something that looks aggressive, you can chrono boost your Void Ray. If you see something that does not look aggressive, like if it's not like, oh shit, this guy's sending Lings at my base already, but my Stalker's getting pressured, you don't have to chrono boost your Void Ray. Making Void Rays just 1 at a time as normal would be fine.
Okay.
The only thing you have to chrono boost, unit wise, after your first Stalker would be at the second your Robo Bay is done, start chrono boosting out Disruptors.
Continually until you have 4 or 5.
I would say chrono boost out the first 2 and then keep making them until you have like 4 or 5. But after you have like 2 out, you should be okay. You could just make them normally after that. Because you just want to get a couple out early so you can really chunk the fucking Hydras down if it is a Hydra all in, like I just did to you. And then at that point, you would go back after you chrono boost your Disruptors. At that point, you would most likely not need to chrono boost your probes anymore because you'll probably be in the 70 plus range. You're really close to that, already at the ideal saturation. You're like pretty much there. You don't need to chrono boost your Gateway. You don't need to chrono boost your Robo. I would say it's a judgment call there, where you can chrono boost your initial carriers out if you feel like you're getting attacked and you need them earlier, or if you feel like you have control of the game, chrono boost your upgrades, which would be your shield upgrade and your weapon upgrade on your core.
Okay.
So that's a judgment call if you feel pressured or not.
Yeah, I remember that from Bronze to GM. Chrono probes until you start chronoing upgrades.
Yep.
Nom Nami, shout out, buddy. You're chill too.
And then now, so you chronoed the Void. Like I said before, I don't think you need to do that if you're not being pressured, but if you do it, it's not the end of the world.
Okay. I did see the 6lings, which usually you only see 4, so...
Yeah, it's like that Stalker, feel confident. Like if you made the Stalker first, you made a Sentry second, you would, like if this was a Speedling all in, and let's say your battery was not done yet, that Sentry should be out already. to where you could force
Yeah,
shield your door for the force shield for the shield battery to finish in time.
Okay.
And then yeah, now honestly you should be like, now you're taking your gas. This is fine. You should be sending a probe towards your third now. The correct timing to take your third, again, as I was saying before, is your third should be getting thrown down right around 4 minutes. Your fourth should be getting thrown down right around 6 minutes.
6 minutes. Okay. I think that was kind of close. Guess 10 seconds is an eternity in StarCraft.
It's okay. Though. I would say this is okay. It's okay. It's not that bad. It's doable. It's definitely not like, well, this is why you lost. Like it's doable. Yeah. I do think now though, this is also why I would say you don't want to, like, I will say your Robo and your Forge and all of it though is a little off. Like your third is a little late. Your Forge and your Robo are a little late too. You're throwing them down around 440. That's pretty fucking late. For the tech. And the reason why is because you have extra cost because you chronoed voids. Which if you didn't chrono voids, you would have had more money because you would have been chronoing probes to make money faster. And you could have made your Robo faster and your Forge faster, which would have given you faster cannons, because you should honestly be having a cannon started before your second Voider is even out. Like the fact that you have 2 voids going to your third right now, your third base, as you're starting the pylon, this is like way too fast on voids.
Okay, gotcha.
So like, yeah, faster pylon with your third base would mean that you would already have a cannon started, and your second void ray could be popping out like as you start the cannon, roughly. Like,
gotcha.
Like it would just be faster cannon, faster tech buildings. And then
that explains a lot. Chrono boost is the reason. It's holding me back, man.
Yeah, you just gotta chrono those probes, dude. Instead of chrono those voids, chrono those probes.
Chrono those probes.
Because then it'll just give you more shit faster. Like you get. And the thing about a chronoed void is, if I was like Ravager owning you, yes, it would be 100% worth it because you need it now. But having this void ray this early now is actually hurting you in the long run because you make shit slower later. So having 2 void rays now is going to mean that you're only going to have like let's just say you're still making void rays, okay? You'd have 2 void rays now, but you'd only have 6 void rays 3 minutes from now when you could have had 8 void rays.
Yeah. Because
you have less economy.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then you're waiting on your Forge. So again, your fourth base should be going down around 6 minutes, and you should still be making. And also, I would say this is too early to chrono boost your upgrades. It's at this point still it's literally chrono boost only. Yeah, exactly. You only chrono boost your Stargate if you need to, and you always chrono boost your gateway just the first time, just to kill overlords and make sure you're not going to have weird ass ling timings running your base. Just so you get that wall covered, and then it's always probe until Robo Bay is done. And then you chrono disruptor probably 3 times. Probably 3 chronos into disruptors, or at least 2. Just because like 3 chronos will get you 2 disruptors out, essentially. And then you go back into chronoing either upgrades or at that point, or carriers. Because at that point you should be making either one of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can still start the upgrade, but definitely don't chrono it this early.
A nice supply block here too.
Yeah. Okay, and then your fourth base should be going down. Like you should already be sending a probe to your fourth. Like here's the numbers you should have already at this point in time. You should already have a fully saturated mineral line right now at your third. You should already be 16 out of 16 here. You should already have gases being started here, and you should already have a probe going to your fourth to start your fourth. You should also already have disruptors. 1 disruptor out already. Like it should be like either popping out now or getting close to popping out now. And then you should have a, like if you and you're chronoing it, so you should have a second one following it up pretty fast. Like right around 6 minutes is when all this shit should be happening. And then once you start your fourth base and you start pylon, and then you make cannon battery, and while you're chronoing disruptors and you're making voids, then as soon as you have enough money to do it, then you make 3 Stargates and a fleet beacon. And then once you have 3 Stargates and a fleet beacon, then you make extra cannons and batteries at your third and your fourth.
Okay. So since I'm not that, tight with my bills or anything yet, what are we doing? And this is going to turn into a question shortly. I was waiting for the mineral line at my third to be saturated before I started my fourth. Should I work with the clock or work with the probe count?
You should work with your probe count, but you should know you're behind if you're behind the clock.
Right. Okay.
Because if you work with the clock only, and no matter what, sometimes you'll invest more in what you can afford, and that's the reason why you're behind is because you already did that this game by chrono boosting your voids.
The void. Yeah. Butterfly effect, right?
Yeah, because it's like well, it was a priority of Stargate before even making anything out of your gateway, and then you also chrono boosted it, so it was like holy fuck, you have lots of void ray investment right now.
Yeah.
Okay. And then voids, really, again, the one thing about a void you want to really make sure you understand is voids are not what you really want to have as like your defense. It's what you want to force the Zerg out of you, or like you want to force shit out of the Zerg as a response to void, but you don't actually want the void. Like the void is literally just there to be like, hey, I'm going air. What are you gonna do about that?
In this case, the void forces hydras, which are then countered by the
exactly.
Hydras.
Yeah, carrier disruptor is what really fucks up the hydras, not voids.
Yeah.
It's just voids are what makes him go hydras.
Right.
And voids also allow you to be this greedy because voids are amazing at killing early pressure. Like if he does like Lings, if he does Banes, if he does Roaches, Ravagers, voids just shit all over that because they can't hit air.
Probes and kill them all.
Exactly. So voids allow you to be greedy and they force reactions out of Zerg a lot of the time. Of, oh, gotta make hydras, let's go attack him. So that's why you don't want to put an emphasis on the voids unless you're getting all in.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so yeah, like now your fourth, I would say, is a little late. It's not super late. I'm glad you started it at 6, but like your probe had to run over there and then eventually built it at 620. So it's not that bad. It's like the idea is still good, but you're still pacing it a little bit behind. And then now, you are chrono boosting your disruptors, which I love. But here's the crazy thing: is you're at 620 and you just started disruptors, so that's super late. Like you should guarantee by 620 you should already have one done for sure, and a second one should be like halfway done, or it should be already going pretty far. Like you should have 2 soon, basically. So it's a bit late on that, I would say. And then that's how you should feel in general in your games, because right now there is a chance you'll die to hydras. Like if I were to hit you soon, like it's just the later you do it, the harder it's going to be.
Yeah.
And then you should definitely start your pylons the second you start that nexus at your because now you're fourth as well. If I were to hit your fourth base, the longer you wait to make those pylons when you make that nexus, the more exposed you're going to be. And the fact that your nexus, like right now, for instance, is 19 seconds of the way in, your probe could have made one pylon like 1 second after it made the nexus, and it's an 18-second build time, so your pylon would be like done right now. So you would be starting cannon battery like right now. And this is when your void rays could now start to get ready to, like, you'd wait till the cannon's like mostly done, like maybe like 75% of the way done, so it's very little window of time where Zerg can punish that, and then you could be aggressive with your voids, and you could do things like kill my creep, kill drones if I could, keep me defensive with the hydras. You know what I mean? Like if you actually were to keep me defensive with hydras because I chase you around my base, it gives you more time to make carriers and disruptors before I attack your base. And if you for whatever reason are like, fuck, okay, well he doesn't care about my voids, he's just going to go to my base. Just recall. And then suddenly you're back at your base.
Never engage with anything. Don't even try to kill queens unless I see one out by itself or something like that.
Exactly. Only fight with your voids if it's a clear, like, overpowering advantage for you. Where it's like, oh, one queen versus 5 void rays. Let's kill that. Easy. Don't ever...
That's without micro. If I can't fight it straight up, if I have to be pulling back units...
Yeah, don't do that. Exactly. If you're like having to be like, okay, pull this one back, pull that one back, pull this one back, pull that one back... You can do that shit when you're like really, really, really comfortable with this build and you're not going to fuck yourself over. But for now, definitely just avoid fights like that. Just be like, oh, he's got units there. Let's just run away. Let's just keep killing creep. Let's keep being annoying. Let's drag him to the other side of his base. Let's kill an overlord. Like, kill shit that's easy and don't put a lot of emphasis on it. Like the second it's like voiders are under attack, if you like double tap your voider control group or whatever and you're like, okay, nope, let's not fight that. Just back off.
Okay.
Because if you lose the voids, it prompts Zerg to move out, and if you play too passive with the voids, it again prompts Zerg to move out. So just being present over there is what is going to make your life easier.
Just harass.
Yeah. And then, and like I said now as well, you really want to... Okay, good, you are. You just don't have enough money to do it, because again, your probes are late. I I would say like I would say honestly, start the fleet beacon first, and then start more stargates, in my opinion. So you can start carriers like ASAP, and you can also start void ray speed. Yeah, like just literally have like your stargates on a control group like you do, and just be like carrier the second you can make them. Like when as soon as you have as soon as you have 200 gas, 250 gas is exactly, just make that fucking carrier. And if you feel intimidated, like if your voids are like, oh fuck, there's a lot of hydras here, because again, your void rays, if your timings were right on the buildings, your void rays would be allowed to go scout it before I hit you, because you could have already had a cannon done by now, and your voids could be going across the map right now. And if you were, you would see me getting ready to poke you with hydras. And if you saw those hydras like that, if you're like, oh fuck, that's a lot of hydras, this guy is not making drones right now. Or if you went to my mineral line and you saw, look at my mineral line at my third. Look at my mineral line versus your mineral line. If you're like, holy shit, this guy is not making drones. Chrono boost those carriers.
And it's the speed voids that are supposed to scout that you're not making probes at your third. Like I should have them out fast enough to be able to tell that.
So if you do or don't have the speed upgrade for void ray, it's irrelevant, honestly, for this situation, because you can still outrun my hydras with normal void rays. They're still pretty fast regardless. But you do want to get speed whenever you can. I would say the priority is making the carrier and then make speed voids after, and because speed voids, all it's really going to do is it's going to allow your voiders to be more aggressive and just be annoying. That's really all. But they're still going to be able to do the job either way. It's just they're more annoying for Zerg if they have speed.
Right. So carriers are the priority over
the speed. Yeah. And then basically, if the void rays saw low drones at the third base, or if you had a hallucinated scout from the sentry see that, when you compare yours to his, you're like, holy fuck, this guy does not make economy. Or if you just saw a clump of hydras, definitely keep chrono boosting disruptors, chrono boost your carriers, and you would again, and make cannons like now, and you would have a much higher chance to defend that shit. You would crush it.
So I can throw down additional static D at my third if I see that you're coming with a low econ hydra timing. Throw down cannons and batteries.
Yeah, like I would say that a good number to have would be about 5 cannons and like 2 batteries.
Okay.
At both your third and your fourth. And then but the cannon battery is the priority only when you've started your carriers. So if you have enough gas and minerals to make a carrier, it doesn't mean make cannons, it means definitely make the carrier first and then make the cannons when your gas is trying to catch up again. Because minerals will come in like crazy, but gas is slow.
Right, especially when you go in Skytoss, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Because like you're making disruptors, which are fucking gas heavy. You're making carriers and void rays, which are gonna take your gas. Upgrades take your gas. Like it's all like 50-50 gas mineral, and then you mine minerals like 4 times as fast as you mine gas.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, at that point, if like a lot of it comes down to if you can actually pace everything well and you actually had a reaction to it to be like, okay, I know what's going on, then that's how you would want to react. But if you're still blind, kind of like you were, I would say, I know I told you what I was doing this game, which is fine. It's not a big deal. But if you ever find yourself like, not knowing where you're going to get attacked, and your disruptors are like at your natural like they were, and your voids are still in the process of waiting to defend your fourth base.
Ooh, Skytoss coaching. I'd love to see.
Well, thank you for the sub. I appreciate it. I don't want to let it speak right now, though. I'll come back to it later. Thank you, though, man.
That's alright. I interrupted a lesson of yours once. You could talk to him.
It's okay. It's just like I have points I want to get out, and then having to wait for the bot Brian to fucking speak forever. I'm just like, Jesus Christ.
Fucking Brian. Yeah. Jesus Christ. Jerk.
But the basically like your voids again, they should already be scouting and moving around, so it wouldn't even matter that you don't have voids at your third anyways, because that's not supposed to be how it is, unless you saw this coming and then you would come back to your third. But disruptors being at your natural is great, and the fact that you have 2 before I hit you is great as well. Like that's a healthy number to have before I do a timing. But if you had disruptors faster, you could even have like 3 right now at 7 minutes. But the more disruptors you have, the better, and then literally going up to 4 or 5 is great. It's super good.
Is it too early? So like in Bronze to GM, you started throwing out pylons outside of your base so that you'd see them come in and they'd attack the pylon. Is it too early for me to be doing that?
If you have the money and you just want to throw a pylon, like 1 pylon down at the outside, I'm not going to say no. Like, it's fine.
Okay.
I think...
Don't throw a probe out there or anything and waste probes.
Yeah, I would say when you get more comfortable with void rays, and then you get more comfortable at scouting, like the mineral line timing and shit like that, you won't need to do that. But for now, when you're learning it, I would say that's like training wheels for this build. Like, that's fine. Like, just to get used to it, To be like, oh, it's like he walked over my like tripwire. It's my alert. That gives me an extra 6 seconds to react. I'm okay with it. That's fine. You can do that.
Okay.
Once you get more comfortable, though.
I might have gotten to my battery by then.
Yeah, like once you get more comfortable, though, you won't need to do it. Like you'll feel like you know he's gonna attack you if he's gonna attack you, because again
certain timings that you know. Yeah,
the big thing for you is your void rays are still defensive. They're sitting here forever because you still haven't started cannons at your 4th, so that's super late. Right. Like that cannon should be started at your 4th base by around 6:20. So it's 7:12. Because again, like the pylon takes, like you should be starting it right around 6 minutes. If you start it at like 5:50, that's fucking great. You're pacing it super well then. If you started at 6:05 or like 6 minutes exactly, that's good. That's fine. And then you should be starting the pylon right after the nexus, and you should be starting the cannon right after the pylon. And a pylon's an 18-second build time.
Right, so it's not good to be floating 1k minerals at 7 minutes.
Yeah, like that should be definitely like if you would have seen that this is gonna come, you should already had cannons done and batteries done. Right. So your second battery should have been like forward with your cannons in the front. Those cannons should have been done. That battery should have been the one that's overcharged, and then it would have been really easy for you to reinforce your void rays on like into that battery and then support the cannons. And that battery would have healed everything, which is what I was talking about, where like you stage a fight with the battery.
Yeah.
Because where the way this went was you fought with your battery being overcharged, healing honestly nothing in the mineral line, while your voids were like kind of where your probe is between your natural and your 3rd, like in the middle of the sand over there, just getting fucked.
Right. So I'd like the void should be kind of by this left-hand pylon on cannon at my 3rd, right?
Yeah, exactly. They should be like basically like where your nexus is, or like around your cannons, like right in the area, like right around the nexus, or to the left of it, to the right of it, to the north of it, just in the area right there, so that they're supporting cannons. That should be done now, and they're also being healed by a battery that's in the area too.
So should I have, if I was doing this properly, should I have a carrier out by this point?
If you chronoed them, they would be popping out really soon, yeah. Like, either they would be popping out, like, now, or they'd be popping out soon. If you don't chrono them, they would not be popping out yet.
Okay.
But I would say...
I struggle to see how 4 voids, and even if I had 3 Ruptors, would hold this many Hydras, I
think you would hold it. If you had 5 cannons... let's say you have 4. Let's just say you have 1 cannon behind the mineral line. Like, behind the pylon where your battery is. If you have 4 cannons and 1 battery, which is very realistic... like in the front to heal it, and then you have 1 battery behind. I 100% think you can hold this with like 4 or 5 voids and like 3 disruptors, and the cannons, because all that's gonna happen, is the initial disruptor shots are gonna break the burst of the hydras down, which is gonna allow the cannons and voids to last longer to finish off the rest.
Okay.
Because if there's only like 10 hydras, that will be countered by a battery. But if there's like 20 hydras, that can burst down a unit being healed by a battery. But if like 1 or 2 disruptor shots hit juicy, like 7 hydras get hit by the first one, 4 hydras get hit by the second one, and now suddenly he went from 20 down to 9, that you'll easily heal through that with a battery, and then now the cannons and the voids will finish off the rest, and you won't lose anything. It's like the scales tip in your favor there, and the Zerg just dies.
So don't miss the Raptor shots is the moral of the story.
It's going to be really easy to not miss disruptor shots too if you're playing defensive. Because if you do miss, just don't throw all of them out at once either. That's why I want you to make multiple. Because if you miss one and he runs away, just don't shoot another one. Just wait. If he runs away, you just...
on chemistry. I see it all the time.
Yeah, just wait, let him come back and do another one then. And if he runs away, then you just have more time to make more carriers. He gives you more time to react. But if he doesn't run away, throw a second shot at him after the first one blows up. And be like, okay, eat a second shot then. And if he doesn't run away again, throw a third shot at his ass. Just keep throwing shots at him as long as he's still there. And yeah, you should be able to break it down. Like, again, you almost had it. You were close. But the one problem for you was you just didn't have any cannons to stage the fight off of, and you don't have a battery helping you. Because like you can see that battery in the middle line is literally healing like 1 probe getting hit by 1 Zergling.
Yeah.
Like it's not really being useful.
I didn't want to play like I knew that you were going to come with Hydros.
No, I understand.
So I didn't see them. I didn't see them coming, so I didn't throw up the cannon. So.
Yeah, that's why I was talking about. Like, if you just have that faster pacing of your economy, and you have your buildings are never paced poorly. Like it's like the 6-minute, the 4-minute rule. You make that pylon cannon right away. You move those cannons out as soon as your 4th base is done with the cannon. You will easily see that before. Like you could have moved the void rays out of your base by like 640, 650. Right around 650 is when you could have started moving out. Yeah, and if we go back to like 650, like as you probably would have moved out across the map, I still haven't attacked you yet. So
Right.
you could have actually been making me defensive, chasing void rays around my creep with running around me. And if you would have
Gotcha.
caught me, you know, like, and as soon as you see a hydrogen like this, if you like with see how your hallucinated phoenix is in here, if you see a hydrogen,
Yeah.
I would say for now, definitely just like put a priority on now getting ready to defend hydras, because nobody's gonna like, in Diamond League especially, it's very rare that someone's going to be going for a hydrogen and just macroing defensively. It's almost always going to be for a timing. It's rare that they're just going to sit back defensively with hydras.
Fucking glass cannons, man. They do so much damage so quick.
Yeah, because it's also in Zerg's best interest as well to attack you early with hydras, because hydras scale shittier than Skytoss does, so it needs to attack you early.
Right.
And then if you ever get wind of like the third base is a big one. If you ever get wind of the fact that your third is fully saturated, so you could honestly scout B. If you want to make this a habit, this would be a good way to read Zerg. Make it a habit to scout my third base with a hallucinated phoenix at 6 minutes. Like send it out like it maybe like 550.
Okay.
So like
check your third.
Yeah, just
saturation.
literally just look at my third mineral line and be like, how many drones does he have? And if I have fucking no drones, if you're like, oh, well, you have 5 drones at your third, and I have 18 probes at mine, make those fucking cannons. Like make chrono boost those carriers, make those cannons, because that is not a greedy Zerg. That is a all-in Zerg. That is a Zerg who's about to try and kill you.
So that saturation scout is probably more important than scouting what tech you have.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Because if you make cannons, it's going to help you against Spire. It's going to help you against Hydras. But then you can also still harass me with Void Rays. And that, if you're like, okay, still no Hydras, and now you have Corruptors, or now you have Mutas, you could, you know, make... Because you're making the targets either way, right? You could then make... Instead of making carriers, you make either Phoenix or Void, just to boost your fucking numbers initially while you make more cannons and batteries at all of your mineral lines, and then you go carriers.
So if he rushes in now, like, forgive me, I don't know the timings, but if he rushes in now with, you know, 20 Corruptors or something, should I make some Voids or keep making carriers?
If you were to scout his base and you saw he was going for really quick Void Rays, I would say make cannons and Voids.
Okay.
Every base should have cannon battery at it, not even just your third and fourth now. Like, both your main and natural as well should have cannon battery. Like, we're talking like... Yeah, like, we're talking like 2 to 3 cannons in each mineral line at your main and natural. I would be okay with either one. 2 is fine. Put like 1 battery with it. Put like 5 cannons and 2 batteries at your third and fourth. So like you have extra defense at the more exposed bases. And then you just play defensive with Void. Just like centralize your Voids maybe like on your natural. And then every time...
They do take both from the overcharge.
Yes, the Void Rays fucking annihilate Corruptor with overcharge if Corruptors stay there.
Yeah.
So then all you would do is you would just wait until he chooses to fight a base. You would go defend that base with your Voids, and then overcharge the battery if he fights you, and overcharge your Voids if he fights you. And then you could go up to like I said, like up to like 10 Voids if it's really heavy Corruptor, and then you go into carrier, and that'd be fine. And then also, like I said before, you could also prioritize as well. Templar Archive, like a Twilight Council and a Templar Archives. If you see really fucking fast Corruptor, you could be like, cool, let's go into faster Archons now. That'd be great. That would own the shit out of Corruptor. If it's Muta,
Archons.
Yeah, if it's Muta, you don't need to go Archon. If it's Muta, I would say maybe get Phoenix range and just go Phoenix.
And once you clear that, back into carriers.
Yeah, always back into carriers, yes.
Yeah.
It's just like the opener of what's going on.
Right.
But if it's anything that's not Muta or Corruptor, this shit we just talked about for this whole game, which is like the defensive disruptors with the initial like 5 Voids straight into a carrier, that's always going to work. And no matter what it is, if it's not Corruptor or Muta.
Okay.
And then, yeah, man. Cool. That's cool. Honestly, that's just how it goes. And then, like I said before, once you have your 4 bases set up, bases 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever, those should always be started when your previous base loses patches. So when main base starts losing patches, you should be starting 5th base. When natural starts losing patches, you should be starting 6th base, and so on and so on.
Okay.
Just so you always have active probes and you're good to go. And it would be like, also don't feel intimidated if you're like, well, fuck, I'm a little bit behind. I need to double expand, and I'm at like 190 supply. Just fucking do it really fast. It's totally fine. If you have the point where you're at like 4 Archon, 6 Templar, and like 14 carrier with a mothership, you have a god mode army. And if you take a few extra, like 1 extra minute to just set up your next couple expansions and defend them until the cannons and batteries are done, that's totally fine. You will crush the Zerg whenever the fight does happen. And you're now you're solidifying your economy for the future, because once you're at that point, you feel like a god as Protoss.
I like that. Feels good, man.
Yeah. And then at that point too, as we talked about in the game I showed you, at that point, once you're ready to really move out, you can also add in the Dark Shrine for Dark Templars if you need to, or you can add on like the other like 10 gateways or so, or like 8 gateways to go up to like a total of like 14 or 16. So you have like the ability to do a fat warp in if it makes sense.
Yeah.
So you can do a charge out run by if you want to make carriers as well, and you just need time, so you can be annoying with zealots, or you can do like DT warp ins if you need to defend your bases, anything like that.
And like after a big fight or something, warp in whatever I need, if it's stalkers or no.
I would say if you lose an army, like if you lose a big chunk of army, do not ever warp in anything that is not Templar or Zealot. Because if you need to remake Archons really fast for whatever reason, like if there's a bunch of Corruptors coming to your base, you can make Archons, that's fine. If you feel like there's a bunch of Hydras that are coming, you can make new High Templars for more Storm, and that'll be up soon. Those are fine. If you need DTs, that's fine. But don't make Stalkers, and don't make Sentries, and don't make Adepts. Once you start making Carriers, never make those units again. So if you feel pressured, Templars could be more of a focus, that's fine. If you feel not pressured, but like if you feel like you both kind of reset each other, but you want to make your army again really fast, and you don't have enough supply open, like you don't have enough Stargates to just fully max out again. So if like all your Stargates are pumping and you're like still at 160 out of 200, and you're like, well, what can I do now? Just do a fucking charge out run by. If you feel like you can still have control, just make like 20 Zealots, run into Zerg's 4th base or 5th base, try to kill it, try to kill drones, and just be fucking annoying. Because if you're pacing your economy well with expansions, you will always have a juicy bank to work with. And if you kill the Zerg's economy, he can't deal with your remax.
Well, I can tell you with my macro, I'm used to having a juicy bank.
Yeah, so I mean that would be great. Just don't ever make Stalkers. Do not make Stalkers. Do not make Adepts. Do not make Sentries after the opener of the game.
Gotcha.
All right, man. Do you have any other questions about anything?
No, man. It's been really helpful. I look forward to the VOD, and maybe I'll see you again for some PvT or PvT or PvP.
Okay, sounds good. Make sure you.
It's a fame to shout out chat. They're making a brown man blush over here.
Oh man.
Being very complimentary.
They like you, dude. You're loved in the chat. You're loved in the VFam.
I have a funny story actually. I've been, there's this German word that once you're familiar with something, you start seeing it a lot more.
Yeah.
And I've been playing VFam on ladder like non-stop, and every time I notice it now. I might not have noticed it before,
Sure.
but I notice it every night. I'm running into them.
One of us.
In PvP actually, because I really studied that bronze to GM. Like I watched those videos a lot.
Yeah, that's good.
In PvP, like it happens a few times over the last couple of weeks where I'll run into somebody doing the same build as me, and I'll just message him like, "Yo, ViBE bronze to GM," and he's like, "How the fuck did you know?" Like, "Yo, can't tell him that we're doing the same thing, but you're out there, man."
That's awesome, man.
Fan for life.
I've heard a lot about people. Like ever since I started doing Beta GM, everyone's like, "It's the Beta GM guy. I love your Beta GM stuff, ViBE. Oh my god." So
anytime somebody asks me for any tips, how did you kick my ass so bad? It's just like, yo, ViBE bronze to GM, man. That's all I can tell you. That's all I'm doing.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and dude, like I said before, just save the replay too if you haven't done it already, just so you have an example. And
yeah, I'll say it.
Yeah, try to hit those timings, and I'll send you the VOD by probably tomorrow, because I gotta edit it after my stream tonight. And then yeah,
right.
I'll see you on stream, and if you do another one, I'll see you in another coaching lesson. And yeah, dude, I'll catch you later, man.
Definitely, man. Look forward to it. Thanks again.
All right, have a good rest of your day, dude.
You too, man.
All right, see you.
Yeah.
All right, guys, this has been another coaching lesson with our boy Benji. Thank you very much, Benji, for doing another lesson. And dude, good shit. That was a good lesson. Guys, thank you for watching. If you liked it, by all means, go check out more videos. Check out the Bronze GM series, as we talked about just now. Or you can go check out more replay analysis stuff that I've done, or more coaching lessons I've done. I have tons of content out there for teaching people if you are looking to get better at StarCraft. But thank you guys for watching another lesson, and I will see you guys in the next one. So until then, take it easy. Much love, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace, guys.